Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to episode 134 of the Business Bootcamp podcast. Today, I'm going to go on a rant. We're going to talk about age. We're going to talk about things that people have an excuse as to why they are not succeeding in their business. Before we get to that, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsor for today's episode, which is Landscape Business Course. And if you go to landscapebusinesscourse.com, you can find out exactly what it's all about. It's essentially a course. If you're trying to create a landscaping or mowing business or tree company and you're kind of struggling to break the $100,000 marker for each month in revenue and you're wanting to create $1 million company, definitely going to want to check it out if you're kind of feeling like you're hitting a plateau right now. Check it out, landscapebusinesscourse.com. Now today, we are taking a question that came in via the website, businessbootcamppodcast.com. You can always ask any questions you might have, and I will answer those for you. Now, this week, before we get started, I do want to say an announcement that we are doing a special giveaway. If you listen to the last episode, you have already heard this, and essentially what it is I'm going to call 20 people. I'm going to give free advising calls for like 10, 15 minutes. It just depends on your question. And so if you have a question and you would like to have a personal phone call with myself, make sure you go to businessbootcamppodcast.com and then click the box that says sign up for a call with Mike. It's right on the homepage, like second box down. Just fill in your information. It'll send you a confirmation email. And then what I'm doing is I'm calling the first 10 people that have registered, and then I'm going to call randomly 10 more people. So the first 10 people have already filled up because I put that notice on there last night. However, if you would like to have a chance to get a live and in-person call totally free, and you have a question on how to start, grow, or save your business, and you want a phone call with me, make sure you fill out that form. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to call right before Christmas, a few days before Christmas, so you can. It's going to be like Santa Claus coming down the chimney for a little present for you all, and so I hope that works out for you. Get on the businessbootcamppodcast.com. And it'll be good. It's just a different perspective. I think a lot of times when people ask me questions, they just want a different perspective, a different opinion, different set of eyes on the subject matter. And I don't think I'm the smartest or the greatest SEO or at marketing or at management or anything like that. I don't claim to be the best at any of those things. But I think sometimes it's just to have an educated set of eyes to look at your situation, your problem, or your opportunity, whether it be a business idea or somewhere you're going to scale the business, is just so valuable. And so make sure if that's something you're interested in, check it out. If there's already a ton of people who have signed up, so right now you're really just going for those 10 random spots. But if you do sign up and I don't call you, I might try to fit in more depending how I feel next week and the week after that. So I might just start calling everyone else who does sign up in those two, because the registration will go down. I think it's set to go down Friday for the live calls, so it's gonna go down. But I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. But all the other people who don't make the giveaway, I might try to call you later on in the winter sometime when I'm bored. So that's that. Now today, let me read this question. Came in on the website. Came from Johnny. I'm gonna go. Here we go. First of all, it's kind of funny because he says, "Hey Matt," instead of "Hey Mike." I was like, what? Do I really talk that fast? Oh, you know, it was really funny. I was doing an in-person consulting the other day. Actually, it was just a meetup for one of the course members from Landscape Business Course because he lives pretty close to us. And so we were meeting, and he's like, yeah, I still put you on at 1.5 or 2 times speed on my podcast. I was like, what? Like, you know what? All the people who tell me I talk too fast on the podcast, I need to record this guy and show everyone else that I don't talk too fast, and that there's still people out there that still put me on the 2 times on their podcast to make me talk faster. So, anyways, let me read this question. It comes from Johnny. Johnny says, "Hey Matt," but it should be "Hey Mike." He says, "I'm a newer listener, listening for maybe 2 months to your podcast, and has gone back and listened to everything on iTunes because I love the content so much. It's great to hear from another millennial who is also a go-getter." Thanks, John. All right, so now he gets in his question. He says, "I am currently living in South Korea." By the way, I don't think I've ever had a question from South Korea on the podcast. But and he goes on, "But I will be moving back home to the States soon. I have come up with what I think to be a great service-based business idea that requires little to no capital and has a definite need in my community back home. The only problem is being I am a 25-year-old college student and have an honest-to-goodness baby face. While this may seem like a silly thing to worry about, my business relies upon the idea that I can sell to business owners, particularly restaurant owners. While I have run this idea by a lot of my mentors and they think I'm a genius, I keep running into problems when it comes to selling to people who are longtime business owners because I look so young. What tips do you have for other young people like us for selling to other businesses when you are so young? Thanks again, Johnny. Alright, so here we go. I warned you when we started this episode we were going to get on a rant. So here we go. But let me start off. Thank you, Johnny, for writing in. And anything I say today, I'm not trying to scream at you or tell you you're wrong or anything like that. I hope it's constructive, and I hope sometimes you just need a little bit of a shock. It's like a coach in a football at halftime, getting a team that's losing, kind of pep talking them, getting them back into the game, getting their head back what it needs to be. And that is what I'm talking about right now. Like, I have addressed this probably 3 or 4 times in the past year on the podcast and mentioned some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today, but I think I'm going to say it again because some of other questions have been coming in. Age is not a determinant of your success. Okay, like, I'm not looking at notes or anything like that. This is from the heart, right? Like, I am young, and something I don't talk about hardly ever on this podcast. And the reason I'm going to say it today, and the reason I decided to take this question on the podcast today is because I've been getting these questions, and I have to start looking at them and thinking, you know what, these people they haven't listened to episode 000, which is a few years ago when I started the podcasting. They didn't get my background of where I've been and what I've done. And the reason is because I don't talk about it too much. I don't talk about the fact that I started college at 13. I don't talk about the fact, the reason I don't talk about that a lot is because, if you've read my book, you know that I don't think that's a determinant of success either. I don't think going to college for business is a determinant of your success in the marketplace. I really don't. And I think education really needs to change. I think post-secondary and secondary education are in for huge changes in the future. And if they aren't made, our economy, our economic status will be hurt on an individual level, on a national level, and as a global level. So, that's why I don't talk about it a lot. I was 13 when I started. Seriously, man, I was 13, full out acne on my face, super short. I'm short now. I'm only 5'5", but I was shorter. I was 13. I hadn't even hit my growth spurt. And if you want to talk about growth spurt to 5'5", we're talking low numbers here, right? I was under 5 feet. I know that for sure, going to college. It was weird at times, yes, but I think it put me in the place where you feel where you're at right now, Johnny. And let me just say this. This is the other thing I don't talk about a whole lot. I'm only 21 right now. And I give advice to people in their 40s and 50s on this podcast. Now, I respect them a lot for taking advice from someone my age, big time, because I know there's a lot of not political, but there's a lot of social boundaries that are crossed when that happens, social norms that are crossed when a 20 or 1-year-old is giving advice to a 40 or 50-year-old about business. And so I respect, big time, people who write in and ask questions or even pay me for my advice, and they're way older than me, have way more experience than me, but they value my opinion on a lot of the new stuff that's coming up in marketing and in business. And so I respect that a lot. That being said, you got to respect yourself a lot more, Johnny. And this goes for everyone out there that's young. And then we're talking about age today, but this goes for your race, your sex. If you're big, if you're fat, if you're skinny, if you're handsome or you look horrible or you have acne or it doesn't matter what the excuse is, whether it be physical or religious or political or economic, and you have some inhibitor, you have some excuse as to why you are not succeeding. I want to tell you this, and 90% of the time, you are the one making the issue of it. And we'll get into what I mean by that exactly. But I don't talk a whole lot. I'm 21 now. I give advice to people around the world on their businesses, and this is the differentiator between how you're thinking, Johnny, and what you need to think and how I try to think as a young business person. And that is, if you start to ponder, if you start to dwell on your excuses and as to why you will not succeed, they will become an inhibitor, and they will become something that will keep you from success. So I can't really, I can't, like I just said that education and that age is not a determinant, a key indicator of your success. I just said that. However, it's kind of not true, because if you believe it is, it will be. You say, well, is this like some sort of like psychological thing? No, it's not. Because what makes transactions happen is people-to-people contact, like communication skills. And if you believe that you are too young, or you believe that because you are a certain race, or you're a certain religion, or you're a certain height, or you look a certain way, if you believe that, you won't look someone in the eye as well. You won't ask for the close. You won't ask for the upsell. You won't try to ask for referrals. And those things will determine whether your business is successful. Like we talk about all that stuff on the podcast because that's what determines business success. But you say, well, it's because I'm young. No, it's because you believe you're young, and you believe that because you're young, you're not selling as well. And the reason that's true for you is because you are selling to people who are older than you, and then you feel like you can't look them in the eye, you shouldn't be asking for the sale, that you are in the social economic status that you should be asking for the sale, and because of that, you don't ask for the sale, thus you don't get the sale. So I think if you believe it, if you believe that because you didn't go to college, your business won't succeed, guess what? Because you went to college, your business will tend to be less successful. Because you believe it. Because every time you're across the table from someone that has a 8-year degree, you're somehow going to feel lower than them, might not have the great eye contact, might not communicate with them in the right way, maybe not create a bond with them, have something like you have this wall in between you. And because you think that way, your sales abilities and your business acumen, your communication skills are hindered. And that is a determinant of success. And I know there's people out there saying, like, you don't know what it's like to be this race, or to be this way, or to be fat, or whatever it is. Like, whatever it might be. But I do know what it's like to be a 13-year-old in a college institution and know what it's like to have 40 and 50-year-olds in your class. Like, I do know that. And I do know what it's like to be 16. Okay, let's break this down. When I was 15 and 16, I was working at an insurance agency selling life insurance. I worked for State Farm. Working there underage, like under 18, and literally selling life insurance to people that are way older than me. And somehow I made it work. Now, did I at that time think that it was... Like sometimes being naive is a good thing. Like I didn't even think that because I was young I couldn't sell life insurance. I didn't even think it. Some people think about things so much, and they go out and read the books, and they listen to people making speeches about race and age equality and all this. And I get it. I know it's a problem. But if you dwell on it so much, you start to believe you really do have a handicap. And because of that, it actually hinders you, even if the person across from the table from you doesn't believe the same thing. If they really aren't prejudiced, if they really don't discriminate. But because you've been led to believe that everyone does, you act different in the sales pitch. Okay, so like when I sold life insurance, I wasn't thinking that I was talking... Like I step out of myself kind of when I'm in the sales mode. So like even on Landscape Business Course, it's the same thing. I'm selling a product to business owners that are way older than myself. 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, and I don't even think of myself as an age... Like I don't bind myself by age. Like people... Because of Hollywood, movies, things like that, we've been told what our age, what our gender, what our religion, what our race should act like. And because of the what I've been told, what's been given to us in digital media, in the media, in movies, and all of that stuff, has been told that the younger person, that someone that's young should be immature or should like, I still believe in respect. Don't get me wrong. When we're talking about young people to old people, I still have a huge amount of respect. I call people sir and ma'am. Like I'm all about respect. However, it's also been portrayed that because you're young, that you somehow can't make it. Like, if those images are in your head, you got to get them out. And so I was 15, 16 doing life insurance, craziness, selling auto insurance, home insurance, good stuff. State Farm, I worked for them. And then I went and sold, this is going to help you, Johnny. I went and sold credit card processing through a company. I'm not going to say their name because I don't really like their business model. Well, you know what? Forget it. I'll say their name. It's Smart Choice Payments. And so I worked for that company for less than a year, but it really helped my sales skills, and it helped this area get uncomfortable. Like if you really think that you are handicapped because of age and all these things we just mentioned, go out and get like the job that puts you in the worst position and makes you the most uncomfortable. And so, Johnny, if your thing is, talking to restaurant owners, go out and do that. Like when I was selling credit card processing fees, the reason I left credit card processing companies is because they're all selling the exact same thing, and all they're doing is competing on price tag. Really, that's really all they're doing. They have a little bit of value in customer service, but there's not a whole lot of customer service involved. Anyways, that's why I got out of it. However, because it's an industry that sells exactly the same thing at very similar prices, you had to learn how to sell. And I had to like, I'm talking to people, I was talking to business owners all the time. And a lot of them, by the way, Johnny, were restaurant owners. Like businesses that were doing between $1 and $2 million a year for a restaurant, which is pretty decent. And you're talking to successful business people, and you're trying to sell them on a service that they're going to be paying a percentage, 2 to 3% of their revenues are going to be going to you. And I am at the time 17 years old, 16, 17, right in there, because it was right after State Farm. And then right before I turned 18 is when I started the big Augusta Lawn Care that we've grown in the podcast and all of that stuff. That's the book and all this stuff, right? But I was 17 selling credit card processing to restaurant owners, business people, big companies in our local area. I went everywhere, like 50 minutes south and 20 minutes north of us. Kind of that was my zone, my area. And even now, like I'm 21, and I have a small business, and we are trying to grow, and I still go out and I shake hands with customers, and I sell jobs, and I do contracts, and you can't think about it. Like you gotta get it out of your head, and one of the best ways to do that is just do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because to where you step, like this is the thing about when you become a trained salesperson, a trained business owner, you start focusing more on the mechanics of how you're doing things, and like what's the eye contact like, and what's this person, what's their real needs, and getting so involved in the sale, you start to lose focus on your inhibitions and your handicaps and what you think is because of your past experience, or because of your age, or because of your social economic status, or because of no college education. Like those things have so little to do with your success. You can look at any single handicap, quote unquote, handicap thing in our society and find someone that has been wildly successful, and if they've done it, you have no excuse. And I know I'm gonna get emails saying, "Oh, well, you don't get the racial indications, and you don't get the religious implications, and we have all these struggles." And yes, I get it. And I know it's a problem. I'm not saying those things are not a problem. I'm saying that, and I'm not saying that those aren't a problem in our country. But you can make it less of a problem in your personal life. Because if you, like, I put this on Twitter a few weeks back, and that is protesters accept the role of a victim. As soon as you start protesting and saying, "Oh, everyone's against me, and this is so bad, and because of my age, no one's accepting my price, and because of my race, I'm not being able to open my business." Like, if you start dwelling on that, and you start protesting and saying that all the time, and you're like, that's all you talk about, you have accepted the role of a victim. In other words, you are accepting the role that someone else above you makes the rules and determines your success in life. Does that soak in? Like, if the person who continually takes blame for everything that goes on in their life, they have so much control, because if something goes wrong, it's their fault, and they can control it, and they can make a difference. So stop trying to put the blame on everyone else because you're paying, you don't have enough money in the bank and the job market and the taxes and this and that, and that, whether it be political or educational, and you start making all the excuses and you become a victim. You become a victim of your social economic status. You become a victim of your race. You become a victim of the tax bracket. You become a victim of the political system. You become a victim of your employer. You become a victim of your union that you're working with. A victim is so much less likely to become successful because they won't own up and take responsibility. So, Johnny, back to your question. How would, like your direct question, let me just pull it up here, was at the very end, what tips do you have for other young people like us for selling to other businesses when you are so young? What I would suggest doing is getting so involved in the sale and so involved in the customer, so involved in the client and what they need, that you forget about your race, you forget about your age, you forget about how young you are, how little experience you have, how great the person is that sitting across the table is from you, how successful they've been. Get so involved in just meeting their needs, getting so consumed that your product is the best and you believe in it so much, and all those other things, you'll start to find that people will buy from you a whole lot more when you're confident and when you don't think about why the sale won't go through, but you start thinking of ways how it can go through. This is Mike Andy's Business Bootcamp Podcast, episode 134. Till next time, we'll see you later.